from 60.
I think it's fine if
We're
we just
all right.
start,
Okay, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
We're
I think we're about good to start. Everybody else that's going to come in will come in.
Sounds good, sounds good. So, welcome to a new generation of Brony YouTubers. You've tried the best, now try the rest. If anyone went to the YouTube is Magic panel that took place earlier today, those guys, they're the best, and
we're the rest.
We're the late night leftovers.
Yep. You know, whenever you ask your mom about bronies react at home, we're the bronies react at home.
Kirkman brand. So we have assembled a menagerie of content creators, relatively new in the fandom, to talk about YouTubing, and if any of us has really figured out how to do it. This is going to be kind of an open forum Q&A type panel, just talking about YouTubing and what it's like to be a YouTuber in a post-G5 era of horses. But before we start with questions and answers and all that good stuff, why don't we go down the line, starting from the end, introduce yourself and what you do.
You put me on spot like this, okay.
Yes.
All right, I always go last usually. So, hi, I'm RemenissionViolet. Generally, so when I started out, I made skit content. I was basically a ripoff of my friend Ambazar. Made a lot of jokes about that. But then over time, I started becoming more and more of a SFM animator. And currently, I've been at it for about 6 months. And, well, my main goal is just to keep improving until I can make the next Remembrance is my goal. Maybe one day.
Heck yeah. So I'm Mr. Someone, although if you've heard of me, you've probably heard of me through my podcast, the Out of Our Mains podcast. So I go by Maynard there. But yeah, I run a podcast with the aforementioned Ambazar and another friend of mine, Robert. We do episodes bi-weekly. We've been going for almost 2 years now, but we've had the chance to interview like big names in the fandom, like DJ Thed, Little Shy FIM, Prince Whatever, and 3 people on this panel. Banquo is the only one, actually, who hasn't appeared on the podcast yet.
Hi, my name is Lerovun. I am well known for the pointless pony informational topic videos I make, such as how many calories are in a hayburger, as my friend Maynard here mentioned earlier. I have another content videos such as how many times they say dragon in My Little Pony, and I kind of just dig deep into the really nonsensical random topics that most people don't tend to think of. And yeah, that's about it.
Yo, I'm MelodyBrony, and I make edgy horse music about our favorite horses. Let's go. And yeah, I make music, and that's all I do.
Anyone see Melly's set last night?
Yeah.
I mean, we
I saw Melody's set.
And I'm Banquo. I do some art, I do some voice acting, some singing, mostly rambling horse comedy. I think that's my shtick. But so that is all of us. And before we start fielding questions from the audience, I wanted to pose one just to start things off and get it rolling. What was your inspiration? How did you first decide to make the content that you currently make? I guess we can...
Go ahead and start from the
I'll
end.
start, so
Okay,
I'm
go
not
ahead.
putting you on the spot again.
No, you're fine.
I'll come back this way like a snake. So I joined the fandom in 2011, and so I'm kind of old in terms of when I started. Shush, children. But so during the golden age, when everyone was sort of figuring out what content for Brony content and everything was new and exciting, and I was ingesting a lot of that, and I decided, you know, why don't I just try some stuff out, throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks, and comedy, or if you want to call it comedy, I just think it's just rambling. But I tried it out, some stuff stuck, and so I just started to make stuff that I found funny and that I liked doing, and thankfully a number of people larger than 7 liked it, and now I
have 7 in 2011.
Oh gosh.
Wait, how old was I?
I turn 20 next year.
Yes, my bones have crumbled a little further. Thank you for that. But yes, that is sort of how I got my start, looking up to all the original old guard of the Brony fandom. But we'll go down the line and see how everyone started with their craft.
Right. So I started making music back in like 2014, 15, but not in the fandom. I joined the fandom in 2016. Didn't start making music for that till like 2019-ish. I used to be in like a few bands before that, but never really made my own music until I joined the fandom and I got inspiration from the show to make my own music. I really liked Prince Whatever stuff at first, and like for Everfree Bronies, it's kind of like where my style comes from. And yeah, that's pretty much it's not too much, and but yeah, it's just this fandom and the show actually gave me something to write about that I cared about for once, and that's when I started making my own music and releasing content.
Right on. Yeah, so I'm actually a baby in the group in terms of when I joined the fandom. I only actually started involving myself in 2021. I barely started watching the show in like 2019, but baby. I didn't. Yeah, I know, baby. No, but
I was the one who converted him, by the way.
Yes, you can thank Reminition for me being here today. But yeah, no, the main reason why I wanted to make my content was, the fandom had really inspired me. Originally, I never actually wanted to make content until I went to HarmonyCon 2023 earlier this year. I've only been making content for the last 4 months. And it really gave me that drive and want to give something back after seeing all the hard work and effort everybody else had put in. And yeah, I just try to think of the most random things and try to keep my content unique, and that's what really keeps pushing me, just to make stuff that doesn't already exist so people can enjoy.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So I joined the fandom back in 2014, late 2015, or early 2015, late 2014.
No, I know you joined more late 2013, early 2014, because you joined before I did.
I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I know when I joined.
Fact checking
we had
your
this
life.
chat before.
This doesn't matter.
You know what? Fair enough.
I'm right and you're wrong.
Okay. No, okay.
You can tell me how I'm wrong when you get the chance to speak. It's my turn. I have the talk.
No. It's my turn.
I have the talking stick.
All right,
No.
fair enough.
So yeah, I joined the fandom way back when, and also was like a big fan of like some of the like bigger content creators and such. But I didn't. I mentioned I started the podcast a little under 2 years ago. That was kind of the first time I really tried to make some form of content, and honestly, a lot of the inspiration was kind of, I like listening to podcasts a lot. I had wanted to do podcasts for a long time. I had my friend Robert, who I knew also watched the show, and he was like at the time one of my only friends who watched the show. And I'm like, hey, do this podcast with me. And he's like, okay. And we did. But yeah, we eventually got Ambazar on. But kind of the inspiration for that is, yeah, I liked listening to podcasts a lot because I have pretty bad ADHD. I like having multiple things to focus on. So like when I'm at work, when I'm doing like cleaning up around the house or anything like that, I like listening to stuff. So I'm like, why don't I make something like that? I can do that. And I did. And I do. So yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
All right, so I joined the fandom, and I'm pretty sure 2014, whatever year Five Nights at Freddy's came out, basically, because that's what led me to the fandom. Anyways, so what actually led me to making content was HarmonyCon, not this year, but the year before. There was a How to YouTube panel by the Brony's React crew. And after watching that panel, I got really inspired to start making content. And so they were obviously one of my biggest inspirations. Along with that, Ambazar was a huge inspiration for me, like I said a bit earlier. Good friend of mine and amazing guy. I will say, though, after I got inspired by him for a bit, I made very similar content for a while until, I would say, the next HarmonyCon, which is the most recent one. There was a animation panel, and I got inspired by Paramare Animations to finally push myself to start making animation. So I looked through a bunch of different animation stuff, realized I kind of suck at everything, but SFM's pretty easy to use, so I decided to start making SFM content. And that's, so I would say my inspiration, is quite a few people, quite a few animators, but yeah.
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 All right. Banquo?
Sweet.
All right. Well, that was sort of an overview of all of us and what we do. So I guess I'd like to open the floor to anyone who may have questions. No throwing tomatoes, please. That is strictly outlawed. I guess we can just start ACLP here in the front.
I would like to say congratulations for setting up this panel.
Oh, thank you.
You guys all got together.
Thank you.
Somehow this panel inspires me to create panels for other future cons, which definitely need new people to give advice and stuff. So
Yeah, right
Absolutely,
on.
I think.
this panel really inspires me to make my but the question is for all of you.
Mhm.
With all videos you've done over the years, how do you stay consistent? How do you keep coming up with new ideas?
I can
We
answer
can
that.
kind of go
Oh.
down the line here. So,
Oh.
Rem, you want to start it?
All right, so whenever I was making skit content, not at all. I honestly was always trying to find new ideas and struggling a lot. It was actually a really horrible time and led to me getting super burnt out. However, with animation, honestly, I just have too many ideas now. I don't really know how to describe how I think of ideas. It's just like, oh, hey, that sounds like it'd be funny or cool or interesting. I'll write that down. And anytime I ever think of an idea, it doesn't matter how small the idea is, I write it down just in case I want to do it later. And so I just have a huge list of like animation ideas I could do now, and also some skit ideas as well. So for me, it always helps to just keep writing down any idea you think of all the time. Because eventually you'll have a big list. If you're like, I don't know what I want to make, you could just look at that list and boom, you have a crap ton of ideas right there.
So in my case, honestly, it's not necessarily ideas. Usually we just either we have a guest on or we just throw ourselves in front of microphones, and I can't shut up most of the time, which is why I do a podcast. So I just we try to cover like we'll talk about things that have happened in the fandom recently, or like what we had for lunch. But
What did you have for lunch?
Yeah, what was it?
actually, what did I have for lunch?
I know you had the Monte Cristo in the
I
morning.
did have a Monte Cristo at the hotel restaurant. Yeah, I forgot about that. But I think what inspires me to keep making stuff is, for me, one of the best things that's helped is having a consistent schedule. Not just in releases and such. I say consistent. It's been pretty inconsistent as of late. But not just in releases. So I try to make sure we record an episode and have one up bi-weekly. But I also try to make sure that the recording date is set, that I'm working on editing said podcast for a certain amount of time each day up until it releases. So that's kind of been the biggest kind of motivator for me. Is I'm very hard on myself with that sort of thing. So I'm like, all right, we gotta have this episode out at this time. Just having a level of consistency can really help depending on the type of content you make.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of what I was going to talk about a little bit. I mean, a lot of consistency in making content really just comes to building good habits. It's really easy to form bad habits when you start to get into like a rut with something. Right. I mean, there's been times where it's like, ooh, this new game came out, maybe I should play that. But if you really want to, self-discipline yourself, that's really the best tactic that I use for myself. I mean, I've only been making content for a few months, so I haven't had enough time to really let myself get into that flow, but I mean, I'm sure at one point it'll probably happen. But yeah, no, just consistency, build good habits.
Yeah, for sure. Like, being consistent is the key to it. Sometimes you are going to have burnout. That's natural. Don't feel bad if you need to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
It'll help refuel yourself and give you more ideas and stuff. For me, it's also seeing growth on my channel too. That gives me a lot of inspiration to keep on going and making content and trying to make better stuff every time. Because, you learn and learn. And I get very excited when I learn something new for music. And yeah, just don't be afraid to take breaks, because that'll help give you more inspiration and kind of give you a breath of fresh air, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me, just going off of what they said as well.
Yeah.
I'll echo what Rem said. This is my book of crap that I think of. I'll write it down. It'll be sometimes in the shower, sometimes when I'm driving long drives, because I got to drive a lot for work.
do you take the book in the shower?
Is it waterproof paper?
Okay. After after I get out of, do I gotta like spell out my whole routine?
Yes.
routine
Oh boy.
for-
Yes,
I mean, it
please,
would be
in
quite
excruciating
interesting.
detail.
No.
No.
But also, I mean, all of you, all the creators in the fandom, the ACLP here, other bigger content creators, Little Shy FIM, their top 10 Brony YouTubers Discord server that just has a massive amount of creators on there who are always making new things and interesting things. Also, I steal from, because I'm old as dirt, I steal from the folks who are not in the fandom anymore. Like Mr. Ponyator parody. I stole that idea, basically. Shameless plug for a parody, but I mean,
You borrowed it.
Mr. Ponyator was a legendary animator back in the day, and no one's sort of continued on the series, so I did that. But yeah, it's just a lot of inspiration from, and coming to cons, honestly, and meeting everyone, talking to people, and you come here and you feel inspired to just do stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I feel.
Oh,
That's fine. I'll go first.
All right.
Yeah.
Wait.
me?
Or wait.
Okay, I'm gonna say something real quick
Okay.
because nobody can decide, and then
right.
we'll figure it out. I'm the loudest person here. So
No, I'm the loudest
you're
person here.
actually right. You are the loudest person here. But something I was gonna add on to that, you mentioned like other content creators. That is definitely one of the biggest things. Surrounding yourself with other people who are making stuff is one of the best ways to get motivated.
Yeah.
The level of quality that's on the podcast right now would not be where it is. I feel like a lot of our content would not be where it is if not for the people around us giving us tips, helping us out in various areas, giving us like encouragement, criticism, and just like surrounding yourself with people who do what you want to do makes you want to do those things more.
Yeah.
So
To add to that, I have two things to say. First, I do want to say that, yes, surrounding yourself with content creators, super helpful. Having friends that do the same thing as you inspires you. It just inspires you a lot. You have people to keep pushing you forward. And just basically everything that he said. You mentioned criticism. I've had a lot of criticism on my animations, and that is exactly why I'm able to actually find out what's wrong with them. Like, for example, my lip sync was horrible originally, but I've gotten a lot better. It's still not great, but I've gotten a lot better. And camera angles, I had someone criticize those. And then, he helped me actually figure out a way to make them a bit better. So, having friends to help criticize you and also encourage you is very, very helpful. It's the best way to help yourself, improve in content and stay consistent. Yeah. Along with that, I want to bring up the burnout thing because that did get mentioned. Burnout is completely fine. Like, if you get burnt out, do not force yourself to make content, at least not right away. Take a few months off. Now, after those few months, you might feel like, I just don't want to make content. That's when you might want to push yourself a little bit because you might find after that, oh wow, I actually like doing this, and then continue doing it again.
Yeah.
All right. Other questions?
Yes.
So how did you guys rise to fame? Was it
To
Fame.
a modicum.
Force fame.
overnight, or was it gradual to where you are now?
Why are you looking at me?
growing overnight.
I mean, I guess I can.
Yes,
I guess I can start because I guess I'm considered a bit of an oddity here. So, like I said, I've only started a few months ago, but I've already been able to garner. I'm like 30 subscribers away from 2,000.
Subscribe to Lerovun if you're not already. Let's try and get him to 2K before the end of the con.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and I've only made 4 videos, and so I mean, to me it was a shock because the first 2 videos I made, they weren't like instant box office successes around the globe, but it really, it just kind of depends on the algorithm a little bit too, because the algorithm is a really big player. I mean, the video that really blew up for me, it was the how expensive is Princess Celestia's crown, and I thought that was just a throwaway video. I was like, I'm gonna throw this out, it's gonna get like 10 views, whatever. And first day it was out, it was at like 300 views, and I was like, whoa, okay, that's pretty good. I wake up the next morning, it's at 2,000 views, and I'm like, okay.
Heck yeah.
And it just kept going up from there. So I mean, for me personally, it was a sort of a slow start, but it just blew up and skyrocketed from there.
Yeah, I guess for me, a lot of it too was playing cons. Like, cons give you a lot of exposure to like a whole new audience too. I've also worked with people too. I guess some of those collaborations also helped me gain some of their audience as well. But yeah, mostly it's just been playing at cons and working with other musicians and stuff like that, and also trying to be consistent with my release schedule, even though sometimes I'm not, but I try. Yeah.
It took me a while. I mean, I started making stuff just because I wanted to try it out back in 2011 and 12. I didn't get serious about really putting effort into videos that I was proud of until maybe 2018 or so. And it's a lot of luck. It's a lot of the algorithm. It's a lot of praying to the YouTube gods that maybe a video will reach people. But it's persistence mostly, and doing what makes you happy.
Oh yeah.
Finding enjoyment in the stuff that you make and not worrying about the numbers so much.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of organically comes from that.
Right.
But
So, I guess my rise to fame, being the biggest YouTuber on the planet, you all have heard of me, RemenissionViolet, of course. So, what happened for me is, I kept making content for a while, just kept posting, for a while I was posting weekly. Don't do that to yourself, by the way. It's a horrible idea. I don't care what content you make. Don't tell yourself you're going to post weekly. It's a bad idea.
Very true.
Anyways, I basically just started making, a lot of skit content. And at some point, I just decided out of nowhere, I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just make a huge collaboration video for my 100 sub special. And I learned a fun trick about collaboration videos. Whenever you make a collaboration video, it's good for everyone. Yeah. All of their channels get exposure, and also your channel gets exposure. So then because their audience comes to your channel, everyone's audiences go to their channels. Collaborations are super helpful for growing. Like my Starlight Glimmer Fans video was my first collaboration. It was the first video I had that actually hit 1K views. So collaborations are very helpful. Along with that, admittedly, like Lerovun said, algorithm does help a lot, because when I started making animation, my channel's been growing much, much faster than before, because animation does catch the algorithm's eye a lot better than certain things like skits, because skits is a lot more of a niche in the fandom. But, and at the end of the day, always make sure to do, also Banquo said, something that you enjoy, because if you don't enjoy it, it's going to be hard to keep making content, and I can tell you right now, people will notice if you're not passionate. Yeah. Passion is something that is very important to making content.
Yeah. I very much agree with that. You should make stuff that you care about and not just try to follow whatever's popular at the moment.
One more thing I want to add, by the way. Yeah. One thing that I've noticed about the algorithm, again, is that it can just be really fun sometimes. Like a video, my first animation ever just decided to jump to 50K views, around 50K views recently, and I'm like, how did this happen? Why? I was proud at the time, but I'm not even that proud of the video now, and it's like, the algorithm just kind of does push it a lot, but also, again, passion does matter quite a bit as well.
People like when you boop ponies.
That is true. Rainbow Dash Gets Booped. It was a pretty good title.
So I'm going to, they said, make sure you do stuff that you enjoy. No, just chase clout. Chase clout, chase all the trends.
All right, that's it.
If there's, do the Grimace Shake videos, do the...
Hey, wait a second.
I'm not throwing shade at anyone. That's a joke, by the way.
Listen,
a little bit of that is fine. I will admit that I did put Grimace Shake tags onto certain YouTube videos.
Disappointed.
Despite not talking about it at all. Melody, that was your episode, by the way. I thought it was funny. Anyways, tags don't really matter that much. But what I was gonna say is kind of adding on to the collaborating thing. That is a very big one. The Out of Our Mains podcast would not get the audience that it does if not for other people agreeing to come on it and be like, hey, let's do something together. Let's get you on. Let's interview you. And talk about things. But another thing is, we mentioned surrounding yourself with other content creators just in general. Our podcast had about, I want to say, just over 100 subs at the beginning of this year. And after HarmonyCon this year, it jumped up to 300, something like that. Now we're sitting just above 500 or so. Yeah. But it's, And that most of that was because we ended up getting a panel at HarmonyCon. I ended up hanging out with a ton of people, these two goobers, like a few other like content creators and such. And word of mouth is very important.
Yeah.
Shamelessly self-promote yourself. Don't be obnoxious about it. Don't be obnoxious about it, unless you're me, because I'm funny. But yeah, definitely talking to people about your stuff, showing people your stuff. It works. People will see it. People will want to shout you out and do things. People will want to, collaborate with you. A lot of people about collaboration specifically. The podcast is kind of a perfect format for it, but it works in pretty much any format. If you're collaborating with people, people are much more willing to work with you if you're the one doing most of the work.
Yes, that is a very good point.
Creative types.
If you reach out to a big YouTuber and you're like, hey, can I be in one of your videos or something? They're probably gonna say no. But if you say, hey, I have these lines written up, can you record this for a skit? Can you record this little snippet of a song? Can you come onto my podcast and just talk about yourself for a while? A lot of people are super open to that. Mm-hmm. This fandom is really cool about that. Mm-hmm. That's something I can't stress enough. This fandom's content creators, most of them are super willing to help out and everything, and do fun stuff with you. So definitely collaboration and getting to know creative people. That's what helped me specifically.
Just please don't DM us hi with no elaboration.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah, don't
that.
DM hi.
Don't find a creator that you like and just DM them, give them a friend request with never speaking to them and just say hi.
Yeah.
Just give me a sentence.
Yeah. Especially
ask me a question.
Especially if you're wanting to make a collaboration or something. Immediately, I'm telling you right now, come out the gate with what the collaboration is, what you want to do, what you want them to do. Helps a lot to actually have them talk to you. I've managed, just to give examples, I've had Minty Root on some of my one of my videos. I've had Prince Whatever on one of my videos. I've had Little Shy. Pretty big names. When I only had around 100 subs, they are very willing and open to actually work with you on stuff. You just got to make sure they they can see you're willing to put in the work. Mm-hmm. So another thing that also does help. Your first few videos, unless you're Melody, who got Prince immediately to help him, I would suggest for your first few videos, actually make your own, content, and then look to start asking people to join in, because they're gonna be a lot more receptive if they can see that you actually want to put in the work for that content.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most of these big names are very down-to-earth people. So don't be shy, message them, because if you never do, then how you're gonna know, Mm. So just don't be shy.
Don't be a little shy.
Oh my gosh.
You get it? Because
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
but most of these people are really cool people and they're really down to earth. So don't be afraid to at least try it to work with them or
Okay. We had a question here. Yes.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask you, Banquo, if you liked the certified good classic Shakespeare's Macbeth.
Yes, that's my namesake. Thank you. Banquo comes from the play Macbeth, and when I was in elementary school, we were doing Macbeth for school, and I wanted to play Banquo because he died. So I had a fight scene, and I came back to haunt Macbeth. Everyone wanted to be Macbeth. No one wanted to be Banquo. I was like, okay, cool. And then, awesome. And then it was nice because no one chose Shakespeare names on social media platforms, so I was able to get that. Thank you for noticing that. Anyone else have a question?
In the far back.
I'm a mom. I'm with my kids, so I don't know you guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
That's fine.
No problem.
Like what the range of followers you have are, and also if anyone's monetizing and at what level you started monetizing. These guys each have their own YouTube channels and they're just getting started. Curious about that.
I guess I could go ahead and start on that. So I have about 1,000 subscribers. I just hit it today.
Hey.
So
Nice.
thank you. So pretty excited about that. I'm working on a major collaboration video, expecting like around 20 people, which is a lot. But yeah, so I'm around that number. When it comes to monetization, I will say right off the bat, don't expect to make money for a long time, if ever. But it can and will happen if you do put in the work, but it is going to take a lot of time. I've made some money, but like I would say total, I've made about specifically from my YouTube channel itself, I've maybe made around about $400 in a year and a half, which at the end of the day, that's a lot of money, but after a year and a half, it's not a whole lot, right? So don't expect to be doing YouTube as a job just right away. It's something you got to work towards and be very, very patient about, because monetization is just going to take a while. So keep in mind, don't ever make that your main goal. If you want to make money and that's it, you're probably going to get frustrated and burn out really fast.
Yeah, for sure. And like, also don't rely only on YouTube for like money, because YouTube doesn't really pay that much.
Oh, it's bad. It's terrible.
It does depend a little bit, yeah. Like for me, most of the money I get from like my music comes from like Bandcamp or like Spotify streams, or like the merch I sell at cons. Like I don't think I've made a cent off of YouTube, but most of the money I get is usually from Bandcamp or Patreon or other services like that. Like I think at the moment I'm sitting at around 1,350 subscribers on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely don't rely on YouTube and stuff for like money, because if that's your goal, like you said, being burnt out is a real possibility.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, especially in the sense of, I know YouTube's got specific guidelines that you have to meet before you can even start monetizing your videos. Like, for example, you have to have 1,000 subscribers, and you also have to have like 4,000 hours of concurrent watch time within a 365-day period.
They actually shortened it just recently.
They shortened it. They
I
shortened
think
it for a lower tier.
I should add.
So like you can get certain benefits.
Okay.
If you reach a smaller threshold, but if you want all of the main benefits, like actual ad monetization revenue, you still have to hit those previous
I do
goals.
want to add one quick thing just so people know. I didn't suddenly make $400 when I hit 1,000 subs. I got my money from Ko-Fi and Patreon over the year.
Yeah, like they were saying, you're going to get a lot of money from external sources. Open a Ko-Fi, open a Patreon. Honestly, there's never really a wrong time to open it. If people want to support you, they're going to support you. No one's going to wag their finger at you and be like, "Ooh, you opened a Ko-Fi, you only have 50 subscribers." No one's gonna be doing that.
You don't deserve to make money.
So yeah, don't stress out about that. But you definitely want to be looking into other avenues in terms of getting yourself monetized.
Yeah.
I'll mention myself, because you also asked how large channels were. My channel is probably the smallest one up here. I have a little over 500 subscribers, but that's only because I have mostly long form, very specific content. I'm not coping. But yeah, there is like certain thresholds for making money, and I personally haven't made a dime just yet. Actually, it's been kind of a huge money sink because of commissions and that sort of thing. But yeah, definitely, like, I recommend, like, having stuff out there and such, and gaining a little bit of a following, and then possibly opening, like a Ko-Fi or Patreon or something, because, YouTube's ad monetization is not great. Doesn't get you much. Maybe if you have 50,000 subscribers and you're getting 100,000 views per video, you can go and buy a $2 candy bar at the store every month. It's not that bad, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, other Mr. Electric Song.
So my question to you guys is, what has been your con diet this whole weekend?
Con diet.
Oh boy.
Banquo, you want to start this time?
Oh,
You haven't got
okay.
to talk a whole lot.
Some junk food, try to do some vegetables, some snacks in the room, alcohol.
Oh.
I mean, water. Lots of water.
Right.
Yeah.
You got very hydrated.
Yes, this is water. This is water.
I did as well.
It is.
So I think yesterday I didn't realize that I ate anything all day until like sound check happened. So I think I had a homemade sandwich and a Monster. You know, a perfect balance.
The life of a musician.
I mean, yeah. I usually don't eat much at cons because I forget. But yeah, yep. That's.
Wendy's.
Yeah, there's a Wendy's like right down the street. We've gone there, what, 3 times so far?
I go wherever's close, man.
What about the expensive restaurants that are right next to the hotel?
Yeah, I think
4-star cuisine, woohoo!
I love spending $70 on a meal. Yeah, no, Wendy's. I mentioned the Monte Cristo earlier at the restaurant. That was actually really good. It was like fry bread with like turkey and cheese with like some strawberry preserves, and they give you some fresh fruit. It's real nice. Go check it out. But yeah, there was that, and then I think we had like some Thai food.
Yeah,
when we,
pad
when
Thai.
we got here.
Nice.
But I've also been eating some like what were they, like Kind bars or something in the morning just so I don't have to eat breakfast, because breakfast takes a long time, and I want to go to my whatever panels I have scheduled to attend in the morning. I want to go to them last minute. I don't got time to eat breakfast. Are you kidding me?
It's the grind.
All right. So, you want to know the diet of the most amazing YouTuber on the panel? All right. So we got Wendy's. You've probably heard that name a lot. And then I've had, a couple of restaurants. My friend Sylphinscribe actually let me try the most expensive food I've ever tried in my entire life. I never thought I'd be able to try $40 steak. Don't think I will ever buy it myself. It was really good, though. So that's what I've had at the moment. Oh, and also, I've had one Monster Energy drink, trying to quit caffeine, but I was way too tired today.
All right, other questions? I saw in the back first.
Can you be a Brony YouTuber and also make other videos as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
so to answer your question simply, yes, you can. It really just depends on what kind of thing you want to go into. I think it's definitely important to be conscious of the audiences that you're going to be building. For example, if you're making like Dungeons and Dragons videos, right? And then, you build your audience for D&D and that type of niche, and then you start, making My Little Pony analysis content. All of those D&D people might be like, huh?
This isn't what I signed up for.
Huh? I just want to know how to make a Tabaxi bard. But yeah, no, it's just, you can do it, but just keep in mind the kind of audiences you're tailoring to, and understand that you're going to be building those different things. So you might get more views in one field than the other, and it's just really your ball game from there.
I will say I wanted to add, kind of similar type of topic. If you want to have an audience of multiple different types of videos, you want to have them be at least similar. A good example is, though, if you want to make My Little Pony content and some other content too that's similar, animation type stuff, you're much more likely to keep your audience. So just whenever you do, you don't always, I would say you don't always have to make your content be very, very similar, but it does help. I made the transition from My Little Pony skits to My Little Pony animations. It's still a similar type of style, so I managed to actually retain my audience. I know you asked if going away from My Little Pony, but just kind of making a point there. And along with that, if you look at some of the really big people, like Saberspark, for example, Saberspark had a My Little Pony audience, and then he very slowly became more of a just
Cartoon
pure
analysis.
animation channel.
Furry.
But yes, a furry too. Anyways, but yeah, he started going to a pure animation channel. But the thing is, it worked because it was a very similar type of content. Because obviously, if you're a My Little Pony fan, I would assume you probably like cartoons as well.
Yeah. So I made the podcast. I called it Out of Our Mains. If I ever get tired of the fandom, which I don't think will happen, but if I do, Manes is not something that's only synonymous with horses. We can make it into a furry podcast if we want to.
You'll start getting that furry commission.
Yep.
You'll start getting the money.
Oh, shoot, I should do that.
Yeah.
That's a joke. I'm not planning on leaving pony stuff anytime soon.
Anything else we want to add to that question?
You certainly can. I've made some videos that are not strictly pony related. I did like a United States tier list because I have opinions about states, apparently. But I don't. I went back to ponies shortly after that. It just. The fact is, if you in the My Little Pony fandom, if you make pony videos, you're kind of gonna have like a default audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's certainly an easy, well, not easy. It's an easier sort of way to break through if you have sort of a ground foundation fan base working for you already, just because you make pony stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly you can always branch off, make whatever you want to make in the future. That's always an option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? Sorry, you middle, because you haven't got a question yet. Yes?
So when creating videos, do you script it, improvise it, a little bit of both?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
What's the method? What's your...
Well, considering I used to do a lot of skits, I can actually say that I did do a little bit of both. I started out with my Basically series not scripting at all. I literally just write, all right, make a joke about Khan. Make a joke about this. It was pure improv at first, and I quickly realized the jokes weren't that funny. So I started scripting them, and people were like, yeah, your jokes, people started laughing a lot more. So I do kind of a mix of improv and scripting now, because I still do a little bit of improv and all that. Or I guess I say now, I don't do skits as much as I used to. But when I started getting a little bit, bigger in the skit stuff. Nowadays, whenever I do animation is a lot of just, I guess honestly, it's weirdly, I do improv of animation too, because whenever I make my animations, I have a set idea of what I want to do, but if it's just a small animation, I sometimes just go, I wonder if this will work, and it's
This
like,
would
oh wow.
be funny.
Yeah, I was like, this might be funny, and it's like, holy crap, that was hilarious. I'm so glad I added that in. So, kind of a mix of both. I think honestly it just depends on what type of video you're making, because I'm also working on a massive PMV. That entire thing needs to be scripted or I will never finish it.
I'm mostly improv. I don't know how well well, I mean there are definitely scripted podcasts out there, but when talking about like ourselves, and we're not really weaving a story, we're just talking about like, what we did the past week, like so it's most of my content is improv, is just us like talking about whatever, but whenever we have a guest on, I very quickly, so what I started doing when we had guests on, and I was like, oh, this is going to be an interview, so I'm going to have like a huge list of questions, right? And I realized that if I write a giant list of questions, a lot of times either I'm going to end up recording for 4 hours, or I'm going to end up not being able to get to every single question that I want to. So, so what did I decide to do? On one of our biggest episodes with Prince Whatever, I decided to not plan anything in advance. It went well enough in post. It was a very awkward recording session, though. So now what I do is I basically have bullet points of things that I want to talk about, but I don't have like specific lines or anything like that. So.
It really depends on the content you make as well. Like, for my content in particular, I really do have to script everything that I write or that I speak about, mostly because of the amount of research that has to go into these stupid topics. Like, for example, the one I'm working on now, is Rarity a millionaire? When you own 3 businesses and 3 fictional locations and you're trying to translate all those fictional locations to real places, it's a harrowing task.
It's easy, right?
No.
I've watched the trauma hit him over the past month. He's been losing his mind.
So I guess for me, since I make music content, I guess it's all scripted since I write the music and I make the video for it. Yeah, I think, yeah.
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 I'm I'm scripted. Everything's I am abysmal at improv, so everything I do is scripted. The intro to the panel, scripted. And then I'll record, and then sometimes I'll go back and say, well, this didn't land the way I wanted to, and sometimes it'll be mid video editing, sometimes it'll be after the fact, kind of go back and add some stuff in later. It's iterative. It's a very iterative process of script first, record, check, watch the video through, and then maybe add some stuff, and then just keep on working that until you get something you kind of like.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions? Anything else? ACLP?
Question to all of you.
Mhm.
What I see you guys have username. What made you want to choose your name?
Thank you. Let's go. I was waiting for this one.
Why is Mr. Someone Mr. Someone?
Good question. Oh,
All
that's
right.
gonna be fun.
You wanna go
Well,
first?
I'm taking the stage. I wanted to answer this one immediately. So, I am RemenissionViolet. So, you might be wondering, where does that come from? So, I had a different username. I'm going to go ahead and leave that one in the past because I was a child that was very embarrassing and cringe. I'm cringe now, but I was even worse then. So, I made the name. I was like, I need to think of a name. And at first I was like, what if I just, I used to be super into metal. Still like metal a lot, considering my favorite music artist is MelodyBrony.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, metal was like all I thought about at the time. So I was like, well, I need a cool name for my Super Smash Brothers tag. What if I'm like, I love Bullet for my Valentine, and I love metalcore. I'll be Bullet Core. I decided like a week later that is a horrible name. And then I decided, you know what? What if I just like look through songs that I like that are niche enough by a band I like? So I went to Avenged Sevenfold, went to their one of their albums. Sorry. And I found the song Reminiscence. I was like, this is probably my favorite song by them. So what if I just take the S out of Reminiscence and you have Reminition? Then I realized when people search my name, they couldn't find me. I had a big issue of my channel never being found because of that. So I decided, well, my dear OC's name is Violet Amethyst. I'm just going to call myself RemenissionViolet because purple is my favorite color.
Nice.
Yeah. So for me, I've got a couple things. A lot of people don't know me by Mr. Someone, but I will go into the backstory about that. The Out of Our Mains podcast, it's very simple. It was just, we knew from the get-go that we needed to call this podcast, like it needed to be a horse pun. Like that's necessary for a podcast. So we went through a lot of names. One of the names that we came up with actually, that we had an idea for was Passing Trots. And we realized later, after we'd already settled on Out of Our Mains, that Trots is a name for a certain disease in the show. So we're really glad we didn't go with that name.
Good catch.
But Out of Our Mains is kind of I like to call it kind of a double pun. Because it's like, it's out of our minds, but out of our manes, like the mane of a horse. But also, like, when someone's, like, being really annoying to you, you want them to get out of your hair. And mane is the hair of a horse. So we want you to get out of our manes. But the name Mr. Someone, I also had a cringe username backstory. So when I was a kid, I thought it was the coolest, most radical thing ever to have cool in your name, because that automatically means that you're really cool.
I agree.
So I called myself in online spaces someone cool with a one. With a one, so like you knew I was like, it was just that extra layer of cool. As I got older, I realized that's not very cool. So I took out, so I realized that a lot of people that knew me at the time, like online, knew me as someone. So I knew I had to stick with that. And I was like, okay, well, I'll get rid of the cool. That's done. I'll keep the someone. I'm not just going to be called someone. I just threw Mr. in front of it because it's like, who's that guy? Oh, he's Mr. Someone, you know. So I thought it was clever. I've stuck with it long enough, and if I tried to change my name, it wouldn't work. So, yeah, I'm kind of stuck with it. But I like it.
Wait, I am so sorry. I need to add one more thing to my thing now that you're done.
Okay.
You're done, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. A part of that cringe thing, to make it even more cringe, I wanted to become a competitive Smash player, right? That was like my big reason for changing my name up.
That's really cringe.
No, I need to explain what's
Dang.
worse. I decided that, the reason I decided that is I especially did not want people to know that I was a fan of My Little Pony.
That's even more cringe.
I wonder how that turned out, huh?
Oh no, no one will ever know.
Yeah. I didn't attach my name to way more pony stuff than before or anything.
So I've told this story a couple times. So it was one night, I was in the shower, and I was trying to think of a name for my music. And at the time, I like music that has a lot of melodic elements to it. It's like, okay, so I like melody, and I wanted people to know what my music was about. And I was like, you know what? If Everfree Brony can do it, so I can do it too. Let's add Brony to it. MelodyBrony. Yo, that's Pog. Let's go. And that was that name was born and raised in the shower at like 10 p.m. at night. So, yeah.
Heck yeah.
That's it.
I mean, shower thoughts are useful sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My name, Lerovun, came from a D&D campaign that I played when I was in high school. It was the very first campaign I'd ever played, and I wanted just to have like a really cool name, so I just started saying a bunch of random syllables in my head. And at the time, I was taking German class, so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put an umlaut in there." And for those who don't know what an umlaut is, it's the O with the 2 dots over top. So I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be Lerovun," and I realized when I was making my channel, I took the umlaut away because nobody was ever going to find my channel, because not a lot of people know how to type in the umlaut. So instead, now Lenovo shows up in the search results. But yeah, no, my name just came from Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, I was asked about mine earlier, so I just stole it from Bill Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions?
And we have 10 minutes left of the
We do
panel,
have
so we can do like some Spitfire stuff if we want.
I got a question. For RemenissionViolet,
Yo.
just out of random curiosity, when you mentioned that the search results for Reminition came up, what kind of search results came up?
Oh, it was so. Like I said, it came from the band. The name Reminiscence came from the band Avenged Sevenfold. So when you type in Reminition by itself, you just get Avenged Sevenfold. You know, which might confuse people if they're trying to find me, that they just suddenly get a metal band just popping up. So that's kind of why.
I didn't know Reminition was so popular.
Because there's a band in my area called Reminiscence that's kind of popular right now.
Oh. Huh.
Well, just gonna make things even harder on me, I see.
All right.
All right, I'm not Reminiscent anymore. I'm
Violet Reminition.
no, I'm Glimmer Violet.
Remission violence.
Yeah.
No,
there we go.
no, don't. I haven't heard that one before.
So I think we had one up here. Yes.
Yes.
Ooh.
I was gonna ask that
We're
one.
gonna end friendships here.
I think the right answer is right in front of you all. So.
That's right.
I was gonna assault it with the other Starlight, but
So, you like Starlight?
No, I like Applejack.
Oh. Yay.
I like Twilight.
I like Applejack, unironically.
so people don't. I get made fun of a little for this. I have 3 best ponies. He likes to make fun of it a lot.
I would never make fun of you for having 3
you
best
would
ponies.
never,
I
so-
would never make fun of
No, it
my
never
friends.
happens. So my
Choose
3
one.
best-
This isn't a harem.
Yeah, no. Anyways, so 3 best ponies. I have Starlight, obviously, right here. I have Trixie right here. And then, if you want another thing, I decided that, you know, what if I just made Rarity stuck with me for the rest of my life? So I have a Rarity cutie mark tattoo.
Oh,
Those
nice.
are my 3 favorite ponies. If anyone wants to see, I just have her cutie mark on my wrist. And if anyone asks, I just say, oh, you know, the tattoo is about generosity. But yeah,
Respect.
so 3 best ponies: Starlight, Trixie, and Rarity.
All right.
I have an unpopular one.
Oh boy.
Sunburst. Not many people really like Sunburst.
respect it.
I like
I
Sunburst.
dig it.
It's a unique one. He's one of the 3 that exist.
Yeah, one of the 3 that didn't get the plushie at HarmonyCon.
Oh my
Somebody beat
God,
me to
yeah.
it.
The other guy, your
but-
rival.
No, but in terms of outside of Sunburst, Fluttershy of the main 6. That's like, they have all the merch I could ever want of Fluttershy, so
Yeah.
we can just do that.
Okay. Further questions? We're
Best ship?
Oh, boy.
That's actually going to start wars. I don't
Think
know.
on that one.
I mean, I'll go ahead and answer right away. So I don't know if you noticed, I actually had so earlier I had a Trixie cosplay, and I literally had a Starlight waifu badge while in the cosplay. I have a Star Trix lanyard. I very much like the Star Trek ship quite a bit, so yeah, Starlight and Trixie by far my favorite ship. Banquo had a quiz about it at one point. Had a quiz that basically asked, one of the questions was like, what's your favorite ship? And he's like, if you answered immediately, and I literally immediately did, he was like, add some points, because yeah, Star Trix has been my favorite ship for a very long time. It kind of made Trixie one of my favorite characters because of that.
I was trying to come up with a joke ship. Starlight and Phyllis, the potted plant. No, I'm not a huge shipper, so I really don't have one. So
Yeah, same.
Fair enough. Starburst?
I
Sunburst
respect
and
it.
Starlight?
I warned you about this war.
I consider it canon in my head.
I consider mine canon in my head. We can agree to disagree.
No, I can agree that you're wrong.
All right, that's it.
Banquo, moving
I
on.
will turn this car around, you two.
No, please.
I don't know.
I'll go.
You're okay.
Apple Dash is canon.
Woo.
Hey.
Okay, 5 minutes. Quick questions?
Any other?
hey,
Good.
We're doing.
How are you?
Oh boy.
Oh.
So, there's a bit of a panel about, about new YouTubers. No, why didn't you invite me?
Yeah, me too.
Come
yeah,
on
Melody,
stage.
why didn't you invite Kanto?
Yeah, Melody, what the heck?
You got 4 minutes.
Melody, get off the stage. Kanto, get up here. No. We love you, Kanto.
At HarmonyCon, maybe.
Do we have?
If you-
Well. Yes.
Yeah.
Other questions. I want to give you guys some mom advice.
Yes.
And I have about 3,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and I was told we'll never monetize it. Don't even try. So I don't try. But one thing that has been really good is the narrative section describing your video is more quickly searchable than any other content
Mhm.
on the internet. So write as many strings of words and descriptions.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that, but yeah.
Yeah, we had kind of a list of topics that we were going to get to if we didn't get enough questions, because we had no clue how many people were going to show up. I want to say that like tags and such was one of the things we were going to mention.
Yeah, and description keywords.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tags don't work very well, but if you start talking about, like, you make sure that your description talks about what you want to be seen. One of my videos, I'm pretty sure, like, I forgot which one it was, but I had a video that mentioned something. I think it was like, I literally mentioned, I think, Pinkie Pie in the description of one of my animations, even though Pinkie Pie wasn't actually a part of it. But when you look up Pinkie Pie, you scroll down enough, you will find my Rainbow Dash Gets Booped video of all things.
Yeah, if you'll see a lot of like bigger channels or videos that blow up, you'll see after the main description that people will just put a bunch of keywords. I think that's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
those are the things that really come up in the YouTube search results. The tags don't really do a whole lot. I still do them,
Yeah, still do
just
'em.
in case.
It's still good practice. like,
But I've heard
either
from
way.
some people that that if you're doing a particular type of like parody content or anything like that, then that can actually lead to
Or made for kids as well.
yeah.
Oh, no.
We've got two.
It can open the
we got 2 minutes,
floodgates
but we got
for
one more question.
Yeah, one
Oh,
more
yeah,
quick
yeah,
Can we
question.
get everybody? Yes.
to subscribe to the Out of Our Mains podcast.
I agree.
To subscribe to
You-
everybody on this panel.
It's true.
Yeah, you are here to consume content.
I wanted
That's
to
why
make-
you are on this planet.
I wanted to make a red versus blue joke, but I don't remember it well enough.
42.
Yes, 42.
I would say, if anybody's interested, if you want to talk to us after the panel, feel free. I know I'll be standing outside if anybody wants to talk. And
Yeah.
Banquo, do you want to wrap us up?
Hans.
Hans.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
We
thank you
appreciate
for
it.
coming so much.
Time.
everyone.
Yeah.
All right. Yippee! Thank you, guys.
Oh, also, thank you for dealing with me being very loud.